Good evening, and it's good to be with you again. And this week I'm trying really hard to remember to turn my microphone on when I come on camera, because last week I struggled a bit with that. Um, it is the problem when you're in the studio on your own here, and you've got to operate all the buttons as well as run the videos and remember to press everything at the right time. Anyway, it's good to be with you again this week, and we've got the usual sort of mix of things for you in our programme this evening. The first thing I thought I'd talk about is I'd clear up a question that I've had a couple of times in the last few weeks as about copyright and how come on when we broadcast on our church services we can run things like full pieces of music and we have to put up comments about copyright and licenses and what have you, and when we come to our news reports we seem to be able to get away with actually broadcasting anything. Well, we can't quite broadcast anything, but the reason is that when we're reporting on a story and referencing material to illustrate that story, usually we don't broadcast it in its entirety. So we don't, if we're playing a piece of music or what have you, we're only playing part of it. And it's only used as a means of illustrating the story or message. So there's something called the fair use policy. This means that if you're covering a news story or providing news, you are able to use extracts of other people's material, whether it's music or video, etc., to illustrate your story. So the key thing is the extent of the material included in the report is considered an acceptable amount for the purposes of the news story. That's why we only use the extracts. And if we've produced stuff ourselves, of course, then we can use it to the full extent and everything we can include within the report. So I just thought I would mention that at the start, just to clear up a couple of questions I'd had on copyright. Our first report this week is actually from me. I filmed it this morning in the garden, and it's about our Pentecost Zoom tea party that we're holding tomorrow. Well, good morning from a very sunny and windy Wyke, Regis. It's Pentecost weekend, and after the success of our VE Day Zoom tea party, Brother Alistair thought it'd be a really nice idea if the parish could get together again on Pentecost Sunday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon for another Zoom tea party. So all you need to do at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon is make sure you've got a cup of coffee, some cake or some biscuits, some form of IT to connect in, which can be an iPad or an Android pad, a mobile phone or a desktop computer. You can sit in the garden like I am this morning, or you can sit inside. We'd like you to wear something red. I couldn't actually find anything red this morning. And to click on the link that's gone out in the parish newsletter and on the parish Facebook group, and join us for an hour or so online on Zoom, where we can all see each other and be together, enjoy our cup of tea and our piece of cake. And this is the best bit, I get to try the cake. Lemon cake, my favourite. And we can get together and on Pentecost, one of the chief festivals of the church, and spend some time together. In the next few seconds we're going to actually just explain how you can connect onto the different devices and get Zoom up and running. So I do hope you take the time to join us on Sunday afternoon, Pentecost Sunday, 31st of May at 4 p.m. Cheers. So our first device is an iPad, could also be an Android pad. Click on the email, open up the email, and here you can see the parish newsletter. Go down to the section where it shows the Zoom tea party and just press the button that says join the Zoom tea party, and it will go off into Zoom and open up Zoom ready for you to join. It's as simple as that. Our second device is a smartphone, could be an iPad or an Android phone. Again, click on the email link, go down through the newsletter, find the Zoom tea party, click the join the Zoom tea party, and off you can go, and again get into Zoom to join the tea party. I should say, of course, that you will only be able to connect at 4 p.m. or just before 4 p.m. Here we are on a PC screen. Again, go into the email, find the relevant part of the newsletter, the bit with the picture of Brother Alistair and the Zoom screen, click on the link, and off we'll go to Zoom. So I really do hope that you'll all be able to join us and find it simple. If anybody's really worried about it and not sure how to connect, they can always give me a call before 4 p.m. Sunday on 01305 778169, or drop me a little email, gary@parishofwykeregis.org.uk, and I'll call you back. Look forward to seeing you all then. Brilliant. So that's our Zoom tea party tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. And I know those people that joined last time on VE Day on the Friday in the afternoon, and we had about 30 families join up. Some individual people, some groups of 4 or 5. Really enjoyed it. It was a good opportunity to see each other and speak to each other. So I do hope that you will click on the link in the email and join us and have a nice afternoon. Over the last few weeks, we've had some of the big cruise liners in Weymouth Bay. And I know from various church members that they've either seen them from various vantage points around Weymouth, and I know a couple of people have actually spoken to me and actually said that they should have been away on one of them on a cruise and were quite disappointed. I've unfortunately not been able to see them myself, as I've been shielded at home, but there's been some fantastic footage that others have shared on Facebook and YouTube and on the internet. So for those of you like me that have not seen it, I've put together a few short bits of footage from the many hours available. It shows some of the cruise liners in Weymouth Bay, and it includes a few words from one of the senior officers, somebody called Kinnard Black, on the Queen Mary 2. And finishes off with some lovely footage and some special visitors to Weymouth Bay. I hope you like the video.
Hello to the people of Weymouth and Portland. Such a beautiful sight to wake up to. People are really lucky to be here and have this beautiful sight at their doorstep every day.
She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift and hope that you'll take it into her side.
Well, thank you, Kinnard, for those lovely words about Weymouth. And wasn't it great to see the dolphin at the end there? What fantastic footage that people have been filming with drones and other things around Weymouth lately. And I think it does make you realise how lucky we are. And perhaps, when we live here every day, we don't step back and actually look at the wonderful scenery around. And there's another typical view in the background of me today, isn't it? Looking down across the Chesil Beach towards Wyke and Weymouth. We are so lucky to have such a beautiful place to live. I'd like to say a special thanks to MGM Movies and Justin Glynn of Harbour Media, who were the biggest two clips there that we showed today. And thank you for sharing those with people locally in Weymouth. Of course, one of the things we've realised in this time of lockdown, and for you to be able to view the programme today, is that we rely heavily on computers and IT. So I'm going to tell you about something called the Digital Champions. I don't know if you've heard of them, but this week I was contacted by David Smith, who is Dorset Council's Digital Champion for Weymouth, Littlemore and Wyke Regis. The Digital Champions normally hold sessions in local libraries and community centres and offer free and friendly advice on all things IT. So whether it's iPads, iPhones, Android pads, Windows computers, and some of the less popular devices, they are there to help. The help might be helping families with homeschooling, software and technology. It might be support and accessing NHS digital services, setting up Skype so you can stay in contact with families and friends near and far afield, or how to get access to and use computers for online home shopping. Whilst the libraries are shut, they can be contacted by telephone. And the telephone number is 01305 221 000. You can contact them between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, Monday to Friday, except bank holidays. And at all other times, you can leave a name, a telephone number, and they'll call you back. There are about 50 digital champions. They're all volunteers who are there ready to help you. So do write down that number, 01305 221 000, because they're there to help you. And I will mention that number again at the end of the programme. So if you haven't got a piece of paper and a pencil ready now, do go and get one. And then at the end, I will mention it, because I know a lot of people are using computers and IT. And if you get those little niggling problems, they may be able to help you over the telephone and make life a little easier. We're now moving on to wartime memories, and you'll remember over recent weeks Janet Hall has been speaking to church members and others within the local community, telling us about people's wartime memories, whether it's from Wyke Regis, Weymouth or even further afield. Of course, if you'd like to share your wartime memories, we'd love to involve you and hear from you in future weeks. So just get in touch with either myself or Janet, and we'd love to speak to you and get you involved. This week we hear from church member Jill Head.
Jill Head's wartime memories. Here's Jill today and when she was a little girl at the end of the war.
I was born in 1940 in Poole, where my dad worked in the Borough Engineers Department before joining the army. I had a sister, 2 years older, who was a real live one. We moved to Plymouth to be near my dad, as we were a bit of a handful, and Dad had found us lodgings. I've been told that the second night we were there, we were bombed out, the house destroyed, so off we went, the three of us, to live with Granny, poor soul, in Stamford, Lincolnshire, where we raised havoc for a couple of years.
While they were there, Jill's mum worked in a wine shop owned by a friend of Granny's, as money was very short. Granny was a strict disciplinarian. They all bathed standing in the wash boiler and were smacked if any water went on the floor. They did have a bath, but so little water was allowed that it was quicker in the boiler in the scullery. Sometimes they had to hold the knitting wool while she rolled it into a ball. It seemed to take ages, and they'd feel as if their arms were dropping off.
While Mum worked in a shop, she was able to acquire, shall we say, a banana, brought it home, put it on Granny's table, saying, "What do you think of that, girls?" We looked at each other, looked back to the banana, and I said, being such a greedy child, "Can we eat it?" Mum said yes, saying nothing about peeling it first. As soon as she said yes, my sister had grabbed it, shoved it in her mouth, skin and all, saying, "It's horrid," and rushing off outside to play. But needless to say, we did it right in the end.
At the end of 1943, they came back to Poole and lived in Westbourne. They were only about a few minutes' walk from Durley Chine, but they weren't allowed to visit it because of the war. The only beach they were allowed to visit was Hamworthy, and here she is on Hamworthy Beach.
To move on, in 1986, I was taking the washing off the line when I heard the dull, rumbling noise of bombers going to Libya. It took me back to Stamford, which was surrounded by bomber bases. Lying in bed, hearing them going overhead, asking Jesus to please bring them all home again, then being woken several hours later, coming back, then hearing the odd one or two spitting, spluttering slowly where they had been shot at. Would they make it? We all prayed they would. Some did, and some weren't so lucky.
So thank you very much for Janet for filming and editing that, and for Jill for sharing her wartime memories with us. And I say, if you would like to share your memories in a future week, please do get in touch with Janet or myself. Monday sees us getting somewhat closer to normal, with a slight relaxation in the coronavirus restrictions. But I know there's a lot of confusion from people as to what we can and can't do. So I thought it might be helpful if I looked at the government guidance, got through all the detail and all the long words and the pages and pages and reams of it, and put together something simple that we could all understand. So here's a little report that I produced earlier today that tells us the basic situation from Monday onwards.
Would it be helpful to share with you in simple terms some of the government guidance from the 1st of June, because I know for some people it can be quite complicated. So what's changed? From the 1st of June we can now spend time outdoors with groups of up to 6 people from different households, but still socially distancing. We can visit car showrooms and outdoor markets. Some children will be going back to school, that's mainly nursery and reception and year 6 children. What can you not do? You can't visit friends and families inside their own home still. You can't stay overnight anywhere away from your own home unless it's for work purposes. And you cannot do any exercise indoors in gyms, leisure centres, sports facilities or swimming pools. And of course you cannot gather outdoor in groups of more than 6 people. But that does exclude in members of your own household. So if you've got more than 6 people in your household, obviously that's still okay. What about sports? Well, you can play sports in groups of up to 6 if you can socially distance. So games that you could do is something like playing tennis against somebody. But you should not play any contact sports such as football and rugby, or games involving doubles or teams, because we just can't socially distance. Can you sit in somebody's back garden? Yes, you can sit in somebody's back garden in up to groups of 6 people, but you must maintain social distancing and you should not share garden equipment and chairs. So you should take your own chairs, and when you go home and take them home, you should wipe them down. You can have a barbecue or a picnic in somebody's garden, but you should not pass other people food or drinks unless you live in the same house, and you should not use plates and utensils that somebody from another household has touched. You should avoid paddling pools and swimming pools at somebody else's house. And you should be very thorough with cleaning if things are used by other people, and particularly when people go on. And you should not invite anyone into your own home or house, even to help you carry food out. What about those that are shielded? And that applies to me. So the extremely clinically vulnerable, unfortunately, we still have to shield and stay at home. This has now been extended to the end of June, and it will be reviewed before the end of June, and we will be told what to do. You should not stop shielding if you are shielded unless you're told to do so by your GP or a hospital consultant. What about the over 70s? Well, the over 70s are still more vulnerable than others, and they are still advised to take particular care and to avoid contact with others where possible. If you have to interact with others, do it outside and maintain more than that 2 meters distance. Make sure that anyone that you are with covers their mouth and nose with a paper tissue if they're going to cough or sneeze. Make sure you thoroughly wash your hands for at least 20 seconds after you have been near other people or touched things that other people have touched. Do not meet anyone who has symptoms of temperature, cough, loss of smell, or loss of appetite. What about using public transport? Well, we know the buses are operating again, but the government advice is you should avoid using public transport if you can. It's better to walk, cycle, or drive yourself if you can, and only use public transport as a last resort. What about using your car? Well, yes, you can use your car to travel somewhere, but you shouldn't travel with anyone from out of your house, because obviously it's a confined space and you can't socially distance. What can I do to protect myself? Well, to protect yourself, do not mix with anyone you do not need to, especially people you do not know. Always maintain 2 meters distance with anyone not from your own household. Wash your hands frequently and after touching things, wash them for at least 20 seconds and make sure you wash them properly between the fingers, etc. Cover your mouth and nose when you cough or sneeze. Use paper tissues and bin them straight away. Wipe down door handles and frequently touched places with antibacterial wipes. And if you go to a confined space like a shop or have to travel on public transport, consider using a face covering so you do not spread any germs you're carrying to others. And finally, if you are going to small shops, supermarkets, garden centres, or you're dropping children off at school, please follow their instructions on queuing. Keep your distance from others and follow the markings on the floor. When you've done your shopping or you've dropped your children off at school, don't hang around and talk to people. Leave the area as soon as you can. I'm now going to show you some typical markings on pavements that have been put in by one of the local schools.
So on the pavement, you can see the yellow lines to enable people to space and not get too close to each other. These are similarly used in shops and some people are using footprints. Also, signs are available to show you how to space out. Finally, we're going to play the latest government video for you. Well, I hope you found that useful and maybe it cleared up any confusion that there is. I know with things changing every few weeks that it often does get confusing for people. I think the other thing I'd say is we're aware that a number of parishioners are shielding. And although myself and my daughter are shielding here, we're lucky enough to have other people at home with us who can shop and we can talk to and are here for company. We appreciate for some that they may be at home on their own. And our ministry team are trying to call people regularly to keep in touch and check you're okay, and so you've got somebody to talk to. But if you've not had a call, or you've not had a call recently, please do call in on our main parish number 01305 784649, or call me here on 01305 778169, and either I can have a chat with you or I can arrange for one of the ministry team to give you a call. We really do want you to stay in touch and we really do want to know that you are okay. We've come to that time in the programme where I have to play my special jingle, so here we go. Okay, so it's the time when we celebrate anybody that's having a birthday this week. And this week we're really pleased to wish happy birthday to Mike Prince, Brenda Gibb and Maureen Joyce, whose birthdays all fall tomorrow on the 31st. So that's Mike Prince, Brenda Gibb and Maureen Joyce. And a really special birthday to Alice Dennis. Alice is Jane's daughter, and Alice and Jane have been coming to the church for a number of years, and Alice is 21 on the 2nd of June. So a very special 21st birthday to Alice, and we hope you have a really nice day. Don't forget, if you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary or something else special, do let us know so we can wish you well on your special day and let everybody else know as well. We also mention our birthdays in our weekly email newsletter, which you should have received on Friday evening, giving you the latest and most up-to-date news. And the magazine is also now available to download from Facebook. I know, however, that several of our weekly news followers come from further afield. They're not local. And if any of them would like to access our parish magazine, they can go to our parish website, www.parishofwykeregis.org.uk, and they can download a copy from the parish website. During the lockdown, I've had some time to spare on my hands, and I've been spending more time looking at things that pop up on Facebook and YouTube and some of the social media streams. And the other day, an advert for the Discovery channel came up for Discovery Exploration, and it featured the local breakwater at Portland, and it was some really amazing footage that I've never seen before. And actually, I guess many of us, or most of us, have never had the opportunity to go onto the breakwater or see what's actually there. So I thought I really must share this with you. I'm a great fan of stations like the Discovery Channel and the Smithsonian Channel. That's another one I like, as we can learn so much from them and visit so many wonderful places and see so many wonderful things through the TV or the computer screen. So I'm going to show you this. This is from the Discovery Exploration, and it's the Portland Breakwater. So there we go. That was from a programme called Mysteries of the Abandoned that Discovery do. Obviously, you can find out more information on the Discovery Channel by going onto your TV controller if you get Discovery, or by going to their website at www.discoveryuk.com, and you'll see a whole wealth of programmes and footage that they have done, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I do encourage you to watch it. Well, we're getting towards the end of this week's programme, but I've got a few things to remind you of that's coming up. Tonight, of course, is our weekly quiz at 7:30. Tomorrow, Sunday morning, service at 9:30, and of course our afternoon Brother Alistair's Pentecost Zoom tea party at 4 p.m. For the link, check your parish newsletter if you've got it, or our Facebook group for the details of the link and how to connect. This week on Wednesday at 2 o'clock we will have Toddler Praise broadcasting on our social media channels, and 3 p.m. Messy Church. So I do hope that those of you that follow those normally come along to the church for Toddler Praise and Messy Church will join us then. I do hope you've enjoyed this week's programme, and if you have any contributions at all for next week, please do get in touch. I thought we'd actually close tonight's programme with some more amazing footage of the cruise ships in Weymouth Bay. This time it's Arcadia, lit up at night in Weymouth Bay, and it was filmed by Sky High Photography. So until next Saturday at 6 p.m, this brings me to the end of the Parish News programme, and I hope you've enjoyed it and you enjoy the rest of your weekend. So that brings us to the end of this week's programme. That last excerpt was from Sky High Photography, and some fantastic photography there again. And finally, just to remind you, that number for the Digital Champions, I promised to tell you right at the end. It is 01305 221 000. That's 01305 221 000. So until next week, when I look forward to being with you again, good night.